Mount Blair is a location in the ash heap. This mountain has many locations within its boundary, so to be clear, this video will focus on the public workshop section only. So with that said, what makes this workshop so important? Well, to answer that, we must first look into the history of this mountain. Blair Mountain is the site of the largest labor uprising in U.S. history. It was the largest armed uprising since the Civil War. The mountain is named for its location east of the town of Blair, and the summit peaks at about 1,890 feet above sea level. Since the founding of the United Mine Workers Union in 1890, coal mines in Mingo County, West Virginia, and its surrounding area only hired non-union workers. The contracts were strictly enforced, and anyone found to join any union were terminated on the spot. As the miners lived in company towns that were created by the company that owned said mine, termination also meant eviction. Many of the miners did not want to put their families at risk by joining a union. At the same time, these same miners also did want to join the union because the companies were taking advantage of the workers. In 1920, the United Mine Workers Union sought to end a nearly 3-decade resistance to unionization in the area. Over 3,000 Mingo County miners joined the union and were summarily fired. The coal companies then hired agents from the Baldwin Felts Detective Agency to evict the families of the former employees. In the town of Matawan, the hired agents were confronted by the police chief and a group of deputized miners. One of the agents claimed to have an arrest warrant for the police chief. Upon review by the town's mayor, the warrant was declared to be bogus. The police chief then opened fire. This event became known as the Matawan Massacre, as 10 people were killed, 3 were townsfolk, and 7 were the agents. On January 26, 1921, the police chief was placed on trial for the incident. In the end, all involved in the shootout were acquitted. At the same time, the union was suffering from significant setbacks. Most of the mines were reopened with workers brought in from elsewhere and ex-strikers who signed contracts to return to work. In mid-May of 1921, the union launched a full-scale assault on non-union mines. This consumed the entire Tug River Valley and ended with a flag of truce and the implementation of martial law. Under martial law conditions, union miners were arrested for even the smallest of infractions. In response, the union miners started using guerrilla tactics and sabotage. Between August 24th and August 28th, 1921, some 10,000 union men with red handkerchiefs around their necks began their assault on Blair Mountain. Due to the red handkerchiefs, they became known as the Redneck Army. Those defending Blair Mountain were known as the Logan Defenders. There were roughly 900 Logan Defenders, and by September 1st, 1921, federal troops got involved on the side of the Logan Defenders. They mobilized some 2,100 troops. On September 4th, 1921, roughly 1,000 Union miners surrendered to the Army while the rest scattered and returned home. There is no concrete information as to how many casualties were incurred. Nearly all of the miners who surrendered were tried and acquitted for crimes ranging from murder to treason. The legal battle nearly bankrupted the United Mine Workers Union, ending the union's attempts to unionize the region. This remained true until the mid-1930s during the Great Depression, when workers' rights to organize were enshrined in the New Deal legislation as part of the National Industrial Recovery Act. In the Fallout universe, Mount Blair has been a symbol of labor disputes dating back to the real-world events in 1921. With the resource-starved United States prior to the Great War, it comes as no surprise that the resource-rich Blair Mountain would again become a focal point in labor disputes. Hornwright Industries is at the heart of the labor disputes in the region. They were actively replacing workers with robots, which was devastating to the miners in the region because they were suddenly without a job and unable to support their families. Hornwright was attempting to make money on the resource-rich mountain by eliminating as many of the miners' jobs as possible. The erection of the Rockhound mining machine was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. The Rockhound slowly but surely stripped mined the mountain, turning Blair Mountain into Blair Hill. Miners rioted and took control of the Rockhound for a short time in October of 2077, but this action failed to change the course of the company and the continued destruction of the mountain. Now that we have some historical background, let's find out more about this mechanical marvel called the Rockhound. Inside the control room, you will find a terminal. If you try to read the terminal entry on reactor technology before taking control of the workshop, you will get this message. Reactor technology. Warning. You are not an authorized owner of the Mount Blair facility. If you believe you're receiving this message in error, please speak to your shift supervisor or contact maintenance. After taking control, it will say, your Rockhound excavator is powered by 4 ignition reactors that utilize proprietary technology developed by our research team at Hornwright Industrial. These reactors use ignition core refueling system that should ensure an endless supply of energy to keep your operation in business for years to come. Ignition cores can be purchased from our parts department, or you can construct them using the included blueprints that have been uploaded to your data device. Ignition core blueprints uploaded. Standard Bulletin ST17-44PRD. Congratulations on your purchase of the Hornwright Industrial EXC-97 Rockhound Bucket Wheel Excavator Unit. On behalf of everyone here at Hornwright, we'd like to welcome you to the tantalizingly lucrative world of strip mining. Your Rockhound is rated to move over 11,000 cubic meters of earth per hour and can operate with a crew of only 12. Each of the buckets on the massive cutting wheel are cast from solid black titanium, ensuring every cut will remain accurate and deep. If you have any questions, feel free to call our Rockhound technical team 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Happy hunting! Technical Bulletin HI09-21PIC. Reports are surfacing that properly calibrated ignition cores are draining in 3 minutes. As a result, all reactors need to be adjusted from 2200 megawatts to 1750 megawatts. This will allow the ignition cores to remain in operation for a longer amount of time before replacement is required. We're working hard to increase efficiency, so please stay tuned. Technical Bulletin HI09-3MDC. We've had an emergency shutdown today on the Rockhound due to hydraulic fluid loss in the main drive shaft. We've traced the leak to some faulty seals in the main fluid reservoir. A standard safety check should have detected this issue before it became critical. There was over 6,000 gallons of fluid soaking into the ground, which nobody on the Mount Blair team seemed to notice. This is unacceptable. Seal replacement and tank refill should take approximately 2 days to fix. We'll be deducting downtime losses from your paychecks. Technical Bulletin HI09-76PPI. Due to increasing demand from headquarters, we're adding a third shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Full 24-hour operation of the Rockhound requires that the wheel buckets get changed every 3 days. Please adjust your schedules accordingly. Failure to comply will result in immediate termination as per Hornwright Employee Agreement R768ALI-091 PRSN. There is also a holotape in the control room labeled Buck Nixon's Rockhound holotape.
Oh boy! Haha! Well, I'm damn glad that headquarters upgraded the Rockhound's power system. Now that we have reactors installed, we can finally stop depending on the local power grid and diesel engines to keep this baby humming. I can't even count the number of times the machine stalled because of blackouts or the engines quit. Of course, working right next to 4 nuclear reactors isn't as cozy as it sounds. The engineers say those things are perfectly safe, but they are the ones that'll be vaporized after a meltdown. Still, those fat bonuses I've been getting on my paycheck are hard to ignore, so looks like I'll be staying for a while. Anyway, it's almost time for me to change out the ignition cores. I'll record more later if I have the time.
The workers operating the Rockhound were getting paid nicely to keep the machine running. This certainly contributed to the tense situation between Hornwright and the miners protesting against the company. Once you've claimed the workshop, you will get a Defend the Workshop event just like you would any other workshop. You will also get another event after reading the terminal called Earth Mover. This event can only be triggered by taking the workshop and reading the terminal. The Earth Mover event runs for 30 minutes and will produce several Defend Workshop events. The collection bin at the rear of the Rockhound will have several materials for you to collect. I should also point out that this one workshop can be a fast way to complete challenges. So when there are daily and weekly challenges to complete events, I highly suggest this workshop as a way to quickly complete those challenges. The Earth Mover event can be completed as many times as you want as long as you control the workshop and can construct ignition cores. As this is a public workshop, remember that PvP rules do apply, and that can make this location difficult to hold on public servers. Personally, I only claim workshops on my private server since I do not like PvP. Unlike other workshops, this one does not have any standard resource deposits within the workshop border. Well, now that we have learned the history of this mountain and the Rockhound machine, is this a workshop you claim in your playthroughs? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like and subscribe for more content. As always, I'm just glad you stopped by, and I'll see you in the next one.